Moon Society, I don't remember the specific date it was founded. It was late 80s or early 90s. It was originally founded by Gregory Bennett and some of his friends as the Artemis Society. And we're one of the original NewSpace organizations, in that the idea of the Artemis Society was that they were going to create value-added products like movies, video games, stuff like that. And the profits from those value-added products that they would be selling in the marketplace would help fund space activities. So they would make moon movies and make money off of moon movies. They would make space software, sell the software, and other things as well. If they could write books, they'd write books and sell the books. Things that would generate cash flows for the organization, which they could then use to, and I've actually got the Artemis Society poster at the Moon Society table in the exhibit hall. They would make modularized moon-based components. And of course, economies of scale, anyone that works in industry knows if you can make one thing many times, it makes it cheaper over the long run. And the Artemis Society wanted to build these standardized moon-based modules that could be lifted to the moon and lowered and put to use as a moon facility by commercial interests. The difficulty, of course, is implementing the business model of generating the cash flows, which is a problem for any business. And it really wasn't making much progress, but the people that were associated with it wanted to make it a larger concept of just encouraging the idea of people living and working on the moon as a part of the human future. And that's a lot easier to get behind and to arrange activities around. And so they formed the Moon Society as an offshoot of the Artemis Society. And the Moon Society is really about educating people and raising the cultural awareness of space activities and moon activities and why these are important for our society and our culture. And so we become the army that goes out and proselytizes this stuff and evangelizes why the moon is so important and a part of our future. And an important thing to remember is that we're not enemies with anyone else. We're not against the Mars Society. To be frank, I just personally did an initiative with NSS of North Texas where I asked the chapter to give the local Dallas Mars Society $500 to advertise in the local university newspapers for their conference coming up in August, which will be in Dallas. And so we support their activities. And I would actually encourage the Mars Society to work more closely with the Moon Society on things like the technologies and the skill sets working off planet. Because the moon is a great place to do that. And, analog moon bases, the Moon Society has used the Mars Desert Research Station, run by the Mars Society. We're partners in the space endeavor. And to the extent that people try to set it up as us versus them and, the tribalism, it doesn't really work anymore. And that's another key consideration, thank you. Another key consideration for the youngsters is that we don't buy into the same tribalisms that the older folks do. And you've seen this like with Yuri's Night. And I've heard commentary in past years where they tried to do Yuri's Nights down in Houston. And the old guard was like, why are you celebrating a commie? Why? And the youngsters are like, no, we're not celebrating a commie. We're celebrating the first human to travel beyond the Earth. He was a human being. So what if he was a commie? That's not what's important. What's important is the fact that he was a human being, and as a human being, he went beyond the bounds of Earth. And that's what we're celebrating. And that's why we're partying and dancing and just having a good time to celebrate humanity stepping beyond, where we've been for so long. We don't buy into those tribalisms. We're not Constellation versus NewSpace. We just want what works. And, if you buy into the market argument, then the market will decide who buys the most of whichever. That's going to decide what works. And let's go with what works and make it work and use it to do what we want to do. These fights are counterproductive of Moon versus Mars, or Moon versus asteroids, or, Liberty rocket versus the Falcon rocket. It's, it doesn't advance our cause, and it's counterproductive. What we need to be fighting against is the people that don't think there's any future in space, that think that it's a waste of money and actually engage in activities that try to minimize the resources that go into this field. That's who the enemy is. And they're not even really an enemy. Oftentimes they're just ignorant. And I don't mean ignorant in a bad context, I mean ignorant in its true definition, which means they just don't know. They don't have the knowledge. And it's curable. That's the great thing about ignorance, is it is curable. You can fix it. It just takes people going out and educating and spreading the message and telling people, no, this is what's going on and this is what we can do. And if we do a little bit of work, we can do this as well. And you know, it's not so bad. And you know, the space people aren't trying to go into space to escape Earth and the bad things that might happen here. You know, and the ecology is going into the toilet and we want to get away and all of that. And no, really what it's about is using the resources and energy of space to help solve the problems we have here on Earth. If we're mining an asteroid for resources, that means we're not strip mining and we're not blowing the tops off of mountains and we're not despoiling rivers with iron tailings from mines like happened in Europe. You know, we're taking that resource extraction and moving it to some place where it doesn't harm our ecosystem. And you know, that's just, it's so critical for the future so that we can start remediating the damage that we've done in the past and make the Earth a better place. We need space to do that, and the resources of space and the energy of space. And so we need to give ourselves the tools to make that happen. And that's where we're at right now. We're right there, right at the edge. And it would be so easy to fall back. It would be so easy because with the economy where it is, resource issues where they are, and frankly, the speculators in the market are just going nuts on everything. And I know why they're doing this, because they've got too much free cash, which allows them to do that. It would be so easy to focus on terrestrial concerns and terrestrial problems and try to solve them using strictly terrestrial means and tearing up the planet a little bit more so that we can get the rare earth elements that we need for our technological equipment and so forth and so on. Because we're not giving this stuff up voluntarily. We want to continue to evolve our society and our technology. But, you know, just doing it here on Earth, it's going to become increasingly difficult. And so, you know, we space people, we want to go to space because we love our planet. You know, I've always say, I love my planet, you know, and I want it to be a better place in the future. That's why I'm doing the space stuff. Not to escape, not because I want to get away from all the people and the fighting and all of that, and the dirty air and the dirty water with pharmaceuticals in it and all of that. No, I want us to help figure out the ways that we can process water to take the pharmaceutical residue out and to, you know, process the garbage and pollutants out of the air and just leave a better world, not just for ourselves, not just for humanity, but for everything that we share this ecosphere with. And as we go out into space, we also have a responsibility to take this ecosystem with us. We are the seeds of Earth. We are the means whereby the biology of Earth can transport to other places where there is no life and try to make it there. Give it the opportunity to flourish in new places. We're the ones that can make that happen. And whether Mother Nature knows that and is waiting for us to make it happen and might get a little upset if we don't make it happen, I don't know. But you know, ultimately I think that is the moral foundation of going into space, is that we have a responsibility not just to humans, but to the entire ecosystem, the plants and the animals and the viruses and bugs and the insects and everything. We need to take that with us to where there is no life and give it a chance and see where Earth can expand. You know, it's not just humans expanding into the Milky Way galaxy, it's Earth and the spawn of Earth, the children of Earth. That's really going to be the heritage. You know, and that's a little bit more philosophical and obscure, but it's still an important part of it.